Today we have Dr. Nidhi Mishra with us. It's a pleasure having you with us. We're going to talk a little bit about how she has come up to where she is now and difficulties she's facing and how she gets through them. So, Dr. Nidhi, thank you for being with us here today. The first thing I want to ask you is, अगर आपका जिंदगी एक मूवी था, आपका टाइटल क्या होता?
एक खूबसूरत यात्रा।
एक खूबसूरत यात्रा क्यों? सबका जिंदगी की यात्रा होता है।
या मैंने इसे खूबसूरत क्यों कहा, ब्यूटीफुल जर्नी क्यों कहा, बिकॉज देयर आर टू थिंग्स. वन, despite all the challenges and odds that we can talk about in a while, I think my life is very beautiful, very nice, and very colorful, I would say. It has hardships, it has some good things, good people, and it is just going on. And interestingly, when I look back, when I think of my childhood, my college days, or what I was doing few years back, I just don't feel like this. No, I don't feel nostalgic about that. I feel good. Okay, I lived a good life. Now as well, I'm living a good life. So I take it as a journey. So I'm just crossing stations. I'm enjoying them. Of course, I'm behaving in a very strange way on certain occasions, but still, as a person, I remind myself that okay, it's just a journey, and I have to just go on. So that's why I said the name of, if at all somebody wants to make a movie on my life, that has to be a beautiful journey.
So you mentioned the hardships. Tell us a little bit about the hardships that you're facing.
Yeah, so starting from my own childhood, I come from a family who was not really aware of what disability is, because there was no one in my family before me who had such issue. So initially, when I was some like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, I wanted to become a pilot. I didn't know what it means to be a person with visual impairment. And since I'm diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa, I could see a bit. Like I would go to school in a usual school with my siblings. I would sit near the window. I would use my notebook, write there. If teacher is writing something on a board, it was very normal for me to, if I was not able to see and others were, I never felt that, okay, there's something wrong with me. But later, when I was just maybe 9 or 10, when we were growing up, then people around me, they began to, question certain things. Like I was very interested in badminton. So I won't be able to follow the thing subtle. I wasn't really able to walk in the National Independence Day parade with others because I wasn't able to follow their steps. So gradually, what they will do is they would tell me to sit and just follow. They would say, okay, no problem, you sit here, you look at them, how nice they are. And I would not be able to really locate where they're going, what they're doing, because my vision was deteriorating. Interestingly, after I just passed my 4th standard, somebody from the society, that I'll come to that portion in a while, how difficult it is for a woman to survive in the society, and especially when she is a person with blindness. So somebody told my family that, okay, see, she's growing up, and since she's not able to see, her vision is deteriorating, and she is studying in a co-ed school. So, it's going to be difficult for her to survive, and it will be challenging for the school also to manage. And, when these children, when they grow up, there are so many other things that we have to care for, and she won't be able to do that. So why don't you just, teach her at home? So from a very normal, good school where I was doing well, I was a topper of my class from nursery to fourth, fifth standard. I was suddenly just, my admission was withdrawn from the school. And yeah, I was told that, okay, now we'll see what to do.
Do you think that was fair? Did the school force your parents to make you withdraw, or did your parents willingly take you out of school?
See, there's a certain way the society influence your family.
Yeah.
Or those who are around you. They may not say it directly, but as I mentioned, that they didn't tell them that, okay, she should not study. But they just made sure that my parents feel anxious and they are afraid of, me being bullied or being treated badly in the school. So the good choice was to withdraw my admission from regular school and just teach me at home. So that was the time when, for the first time in my life, I felt devastated. I felt that there is something very, different. I have some problem. There is some problem with me because my other siblings were already studying in their schools. Uh, then my family members, some of them, they began to teach me at home. They would, read books for me. And since I'm talking about just 15, 18 years back, so that was the time when people were not really aware of the disability rights so much. Especially, since I was not in Delhi, I was in UP. So people weren't really aware. So they would read things for me. But when I would look at my siblings who would every day go to school, who would just complete their homeworks, I remember that time when I would look at their notebooks and I would feel so bad that why can't I do this?
So, how did you break out of that shell? It seems like whenever you transitioned, you were put into your own isolated bubble. How did you break out of that bubble each time? Did someone reach out to be friends with you? How did you become social?
So I met some really supportive people in my life, and I think, especially as I mentioned during my school days, it was my aunt who helped. Because of her, I could resume my studies. When I joined university, then I learned things on my own independently. Then I had so many people around me. I began to live in a hostel. So there you have to just be on your own. There's no one to, ask if you want to eat or not. There's no one to, until and unless you build friendships. In the beginning, nobody is there to care for you. You build your relations when you start living on your own.
So okay,
Yeah.
living on your own, it's hard enough, right? And that it's hard enough, and that on top of it, you have a different ability, right? So when you have a different ability, you tend to seclude yourself a little bit. And also, how did you kind of get through that? How did you start making friends? How did you start becoming more social?
With time, I realized that if I'm here in this world, I'm here to do something. I have a life. I have a beautiful life. It is as beautiful as it is for anybody else. So I should start asking for help. If I need some help, I should extend my hand to, people so that they can help. Because I realize in hostels that not everyone is bad around you. So if you don't ask for help, they don't know. So suppose there are like 100 people, 20% of them, 10% of them rather would be really curious to know you, to help you, to go out of their way to, be with you and be supportive for you. There will be 80% people who are not here, not there. If you ask them, they will help you. If not, then they're normal. They don't have to do with you anything like. There are 10% people, of course, who are not really, friendly, or they're not really supportive. They're not, in that sense, they're not really kind. So it's fine. There are 90% people with whom I can live my life happily. So I learned it gradually that if I just leave this behavior, that no, I'm separate, I'm somebody out of this world. If I ask them what will happen, then I realized that okay, no, there are good people as well, and it helped me a lot. Then I built some good friendships, and I also realized that it's a two-way process. You give something and then you receive something. So of course I need their help, I need them. uh, they also need me in certain way. Maybe in studies I was good, so I could help people, and I needed some help, so they could help me. So that's how I grew up. Actually, that was, I would say, when I joined the college. That was the time when I learned so much, because then I was on my own. So that was something new for me. From there, I just learned things.
So now you're, how old are you?
I'm 31.
Okay, now you're 31. If you could give yourself one piece of advice to your 10-year-old self, what would that be?
Um, is I would say learn to, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I say some people that okay, if you don't get what you want in life, which most of the people we have heard of saying, that you get something better. But then my inner self doesn't accept that. Because if you don't have an option, and if you start saying that, okay, I did well here, I accepted this, what other option did I have? So to 10-year-old Nidhi, I would say that live a life, uh, you know, with happiness. Whatever you have, just be happy with that. Don't waste your time. That's it.
So now, in your journey to overcome your challenges, to be where you are, tell me, what role did spirituality play for you?
Yeah.
Because you mentioned just be happy, right?
Yeah.
To be happy and to be grateful for what you have. That's it. Is not everyone can always know how to can be grateful for what they have. That takes a little bit of effort.
Yeah.
Not to say, oh, मेरे को वो चाहिए, मेरे को क्यों हुआ है ना? So tell me, what role did gratitude and spirituality play in your overcoming and getting to where you are now, your achievements?
So I think spirituality, it did help me, and it still helps me, to first of all take my decisions in a very stable and thoughtful way. That's one, because most of our life and most of the experiences or tragedies or things that we experience in life are just decided by the decision that we take. And spirituality provided me that stability, to sit and think for some time. What I do is, even today, when I go to sleep, and I'm not making it up, I seriously do it. So every day when I go to sleep, I just think about what I did today, what I want in life. If that was a pretty bad day for me, I would even think about that. And there are two things that I always remind myself. One, this will also end. If there is something terrible going on, if there is something very bad, there is something I really hate, if there is somebody who did something bad to me, I just remind myself, okay, this will also pass.
Yeah.
Okay, this is not going to stay there for long. That's one that helps me a lot. Secondly, when I have to take a decision, I just give myself a statement. Will this matter to me in next few years? Is it that important that I should feel worried about it? I should immediately take action on it. So these are two things that I do. Spirituality in the meanwhile, I meditate. I do that every day. And it provides me with the calmness, provides me with some stability, because in 21st century,
I see the calmness on your face, Nidhi.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's important for us to, stay calm, to just do nothing. Do nothing for just 5-10 minutes. And it helps. It seriously helps.
Yes, it does. As a fellow meditation practitioner, it does help.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's interesting because I see with a lot of people that I have this discussion with, they all have one thing in common: spirituality, and or what does religion faith, does it play a part in your journey?
Religion, actually, not in a very conventional terms, because I'm not somebody who would go to temple every day, or who would wake up and do traditional puja and things like that every day. But um, I am more into reading, so I read texts. I read texts from all the different religions, and I pick up all those ideas that resonate with me. So I'm not, in conventional sense, I'm not a religious person, but yeah, it helps me, and it did help me with some clarity in life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when you say that you are not a religious person, nor am I, but I still have a faith that there is a higher power, that I believe in karma. So I try to be a good person. जो मैं अभी काम कर रही हूँ, it's not like I'm looking for the good benefits, but karma is something that I believe in. I do believe in there's a higher power that's orchestrating all of this. And that has definitely helped me on my journey. Like you said, that has given me calm and clarity. That's something I see. That's something I see similar in a lot of people's journeys to get to where they are. So, Dr. Nidhi, you are an assistant professor at Delhi University, and you are a para-athlete. Can you tell me a little bit about those journeys? How you got there?
Yeah. So, when I passed out of my school and I joined Delhi University, so I was looking forward to doing something new, because I wanted to get into NCC, which of course was not allowed. That was not possible.
What is that? LCC?
NCC.
What's that?
There's National Cadet Corps. That you must have seen these people who are trained in the colleges, and they are deployed in during the need of some disasters. They are also part of the passing out parade. They are not in real sense, they are not part of the army, but similar to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wanted to get into that, but I wasn't allowed, of course. So sports was something that came to me as an option. Some of my friends from the college, they told me about the para sports. And when I was in school, I used to see, as I mentioned, people playing badminton. And I wasn't able to do that. So para sports was something that gave me an opportunity to express myself in the field of sports. And I started playing. And of course, there was no real guidance as to what sport should I choose, which specific discipline would suit me and my physique. So I just started with basic running and some throws. And I went on, for a few years. Yes, it was good. I used to play, I used to win, and it went on. Gradually, when para sports began to, be popular, people got to know about it. There were more people coming in. Some specific trainings, like there were people to train. There were training camps. There were specific, centers who would like pick up athletes and decide for themselves which sport would suit them. Then I realized that okay, I needed some guidance on that because my physique is more, closer to sprinters.
Mm-hmm.
And I just left running because I always needed somebody to run with me. For people with visual impairment who cannot see at all, like just like me, those who are blind, they have to have a running partner all the times.
Uh-huh.
So I needed someone which I didn't have for trainings, for competition. So I left running and I shifted to throws so that I thought, okay, I can at least perform this on my own. But that didn't really, that doesn't, even now, that's not something that suits my physique. So I have to put in a lot of hard work. So even if today, if somebody like listens to my word and what I'm saying, I would say if you are trying to get into something, take some expert advice so that your time can be saved. You save a lot of time, your energy, and then you can go far. Because I know I have spent more than a decade in sports. If I was given a right kind of guidance, I would be somewhere else. I didn't have to experiment with so many things which I did. So, anyways, I just landed into sports like that, and I kept on participating. I won some international medals, national medals. Sports, it helps me just like spirituality. It helps me like mentally. It's very good for mental health. So when you are tired, when you are exhausted, and you go and work out, you run in a ground, you do some basic exercises as well, and you feel free, you feel energetic once again. So there also sports has helped me. Then um, in terms of recognition, I would say more than my studies, it's sports that has provided me with uh, a lot of recognition from people around.
Mm-hmm. So why are you at Yale University? Is that something you choose to do? Is that something you kind of have to do financially for financial reasons? Like I saw you have, I think, a PhD in philosophy, correct?
History.
In history. And now you're a professor. So teaching, is that something you've always wanted to do?
Uh, of course, this podcast will go to my college also. So I don't want to say it, but truly speaking, I was not really interested into teaching profession, but coming from a conventional family, studies were an essential part of our lives. So we had to study. I did sports, but study was something that couldn't be compromised. I was good into studies and I love reading. I was a good student. I was a very good student. My teachers would know. I was a gold medalist in Delhi University. I did well in JNU. But teaching came to me just like that. I applied for it. I joined Allahabad University, Central University of Allahabad. I taught there for some time. Before that, I was teaching here in Delhi Education Department for some time. And finally, I joined Delhi University. It's just a, as you mentioned, that's just a thing that, okay, you have to do something. So I'm doing it. I'm not really passionate about it in true sense. I love reading and not so much.
So, Nidhi, if you had an option to do anything in the world, what would you do?
I would travel.
I did, but that's not really a job, right?
As a job, okay. I love writing. So I would want to be full-time writer. I can like also be into I want to have something in business. Yeah. So these are the two things that appeal me the most.
So, in terms of studying, I mean, you were not only good at studying, but it shows you excelled at everywhere you were at. Like you said, Delhi University, JNU, you got your PhD, you excelled at every academia, right? And then you went on to do sports. I want to ask you one thing. Do you have a desire and do you feel that your work currently impacts the community of differently abled persons?
Um, it has a potential, it has a capacity um, to basically impact not just community of people with disability, but also the other people, the society as well. So far, I don't know how much I've been able to do, but yes, my profession, it does help if I start writing, if I start taking much like workshops and things like that, that can be done. But being in a very fixed setup doesn't allow you so much to explore.
So let me ask you, you are an assistant professor. How many of the students in your class are differently abled?
Not a single one. I haven't found any so far.
So Delhi University is a pretty big cohort campus, right?
Yeah.
I don't know which specific campus you are on, but in terms of seeing people with visual impairments or physical, challenges, what is your perception? Do you see they're very visible? Do you see they're very vocal? Or they're not really, they're not, they don't, you don't see them really?
I think they're just human. They're just like any other child, any other individual. Because if I start looking at a person in a particular way, that okay, this is a person with visual impairment. If that is something comes to my mind at the first glance, then I have some prejudice. I have some biasness. So I look at people as humans with their own specific, nature.
Yeah, and that's how everyone should look, right? But that's not reality. But I'm saying, as in a school, you have students and you have teachers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like from a perspective of a teacher.
Yeah.
You said that you don't have a single person with a different ability in your class, right? So in general, on your campus, wherever you are, what is your perception of the people with visual impairments or physical or some kind of physical challenge? Are they visible? Are they vocal? Or do you not generally see them?
No, they aren't vocal. They are not just students, but not even many faculties. They're not so vocal. They're not, seen in most of the cases, even now. And I am talking about the campus, which is in the capital, national capital. But then you would not find so many people just speaking up, even for their rights in most of the cases.
That's just very interesting to me because in every school you have a certain allotment for individuals with different abilities, correct? And then on top of it, you're a teacher yourself with the different abilities. So if I was a student, I would actually be more comfortable in the whatever campus you're situated in, because at least I would feel like I have an ally, which is you, right? But that was on a tangent. I have a question. So We discussed this a little bit about society and their perceptions. If there was, what's the biggest one misconception you think society has against people with different abilities that makes it arguably harder for us?
They that they they are just lesser beings. I can be as brutal as that.
Yeah.
That's one. That they all need some charity, some pity, and they are lesser beings. This is very harsh, but um, despite all the efforts and all the steps taken, all the progresses made, I think still we have majority of the people around who would think of people with disabilities as somebody who is a bit less competent.
Yeah.
And a bit more, um, in the need of some help or charity.
And how do you think we can overcome that perception, misperception?
We'll have to mingle with people more. We'll have to make ourselves heard more. We'll have to stop keeping silence about things just because we think that other people are going to think of us. We'll have to stand up, which we don't do in general. Just thinking that, okay, if I say this, if I stand up, if I go there, what will people think by seeing me this way? We'll have to stop doing that, because I want to just highlight one very important thing. You must have experienced this, you must have heard it. When people talk about communities that are generally marginalized, in India, I'm saying, from politicians to all the other sectors, when they talk about communities with marginalization, they would just use um, SC, ST, and OBC. Have you heard of them mentioning PWD? Not even our leaders and politicians at high levels. In general, we are not included. We are not heard. We are not recognized. So until and unless each one of us start to, just stand up, make ourselves visible, and that will only happen if we start. Most of us don't embrace our disabilities. We don't. So until and unless we do that, we won't be heard. And society would never change, because challenges are there for everyone, not only for people with disabilities. You meet anybody around you and ask, they'll always say, okay, I have this problem, I have that problem. So we all have problems. Each individual have some or the other kind of problem in the world. But what you do with that problem, how you resolve it matters. And our problem, or problem of people with disabilities, will only go away when they will start to embrace themselves first, and secondly, they will start to just take stand for themselves.
Okay, so how do you embrace your disability?
Yeah. Yes.
How do you embrace it?
Okay, let me just take my own example now. Few years back, till few years back, I would not use cane. I would not go around independently, use cane. I would feel hesitant that what will people think, on when I walk with the cane on roads. So I wasn't able to accept my disability. I wasn't able to convince myself that I cannot see. That is the fact. Nothing is going to change this fact that I cannot see, and I have to go through certain problems. I cannot just, I have to go to, if I have to go to a bus stop, I'll have to accept the fact that I might face some obstacles on the way, and nothing can change that. Nobody will be there for me 24/7 who will assist me, who will take me to the bus stop, who will accompany me to this destination all the time. It took me so much time to realize that no, this is going to stay with me throughout my life. So I'll have to ensure that this disability this blindness doesn't stop me from doing what I want to do just because I can't see. So embracing, I mean that you should not feel, you should not hide your disability. That's one. Secondly, you should be absolutely comfortable with it. Absolutely comfortable. I can't see, fine. And now what I do, if I go somewhere, if earlier if I had to say it to someone, ki please help me because I can't see, I won't say it. I feel so hesitant, so bad that how do I say it? Now I say it, it's okay. I can't see, I need help. Please help me. There's nothing wrong with it. So embracing your disability is important because no matter what, that's a part of you, that's part of me, that's part of our identity. And until and unless we embrace our identity, externally things will not change.
So let's go back to the beginning. Let's talk about self-care. How important is it to care for yourself if you are a woman or even a man with a disability?
Yeah. So I will talk about women specifically because I think I can relate to that experience. Better. Um in general, being woman is not that easy. You have a lot of there is a lot of expectation from you to look certain way, to dress a certain way, to perform a responsibility in a certain way. And when it comes to women who are specially abled, it becomes challenging for them. Okay, um, suppose a girl, like I am a visually impaired person, and I have to go out somewhere in a crowded place. I'll tell you, it's an intimate thing, but you'll understand it. See, when other girls, when they walk, suppose they are wearing some Western dress, they have to walk. They'll be careful so that they don't their bodies, they don't get bumped into anybody, or they'll be careful that they do not hit someone or somebody doesn't collide in them or like touch them inappropriately. As a girl, I have I also have desires to get dress well, travel. But then I would have to much more careful while traveling because I don't know who is around me,
Right.
how they are treating me. In fact, most of the people, if you see, I have heard people saying it that if they see some girl dressed well, they would say, "Arey, ye bhi aise karte hain kya?" Which is ironic. Care is very important because the way you look like, the way you dress, the way you speak, the way you work, the kind of work you do, it's very important. This will change the perception of other people, those 90% people around you. We are not talking about the 10% who just are not going to help you or do anything good to you, but the 90% of the society will, their perception may change about you. They would know that, okay, you are just like a normal person with whom they have never interacted. They think that you are some alien from some other planet, but if you care for yourself, you dress well, you speak well, you would, be able to, mingle in the society well. They would also know that you are just a human like them, and you can, they would. I mean, that provides a space for others also to, close that gap, bridge that gap that exists between people with disabilities and non-disabled.
See, I think as a person with a different ability, there are more challenges that we would face, right? That uh, 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 a girl with a non-disability would face. Things like for you, maybe just putting on lipstick, right? Maybe a challenge. Someone else got your hand.
Yeah.
When you're on your cycles, for example, you may need more help than other people. You may need help hooking your bra, right? So that's one thing that I think we need to be cognizant of. Then if we take that a step further,
Yeah.
you as a person with a visual impairment and me as a person with a physical challenge, we also have to not only worry about how, like, just how our own challenges, right? Whether it's putting our makeup on or getting dressed properly or appropriately, but it's also about, like you said, like you mentioned, about how we situate ourselves and how we're perceived, right? So one thought that came to me, I was traveling recently and I was in a hotel room by myself. And I realized, if there were some rowdy boys around and they happened to come into my hotel room with not great intentions, I wouldn't, and you wouldn't either, have much of a recourse, right? And opposed to a girl in our shoes who didn't have a different ability would have more options available to get help or to run away, right? So that is one thing that makes it harder for us. But I also think that we as a society also need to think along these lines as well. Because just this random thought that I experienced is reality, right? It's not just a makeup situation that I thought of. It's an actual fear, right? So I know you addressed this before. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, there is a scholar, a feminist scholar. Her name is Kimberly Crenshaw. So she had, talked about a concept which is known as intersectionality. So there, she was writing when these feminist theories and race theories were very popular. So she was writing in the context of black feminists, of course, but she has brought up this term called intersectionality. So what she says is, and it is very important, it becomes very important for us also. She says that, see, when we look at a person or a community from one axis, suppose we are talking about just gender, we will not be able to address the issues and challenges that all the women are going through. So what she says, and it becomes very important for people with disabilities, that a woman who is physically okay, she doesn't have any disabilities, she comes from a privileged background, she is wealthy enough. Every woman in India, like, go through such experiences, and statistics show that. But as women with disabilities, we have that, problem with, I don't know how do I term it, like the compound effect, that's there on us, because then we are dealing with a womanhood, then we have disabilities, then we have a caste and class dynamics. We might have some regional
multi-layered difficulties.
Yeah. So that's how I look at it. So when we have these policies written down and discussed, it becomes absolutely important for people like us and people like I would not name anyone, but anybody who is active, who is vocal enough, who has a say in the policy making, they should make sure that when policies are designed, when they are discussed, you bring in this point, bring in the issues of disabilities.
Yeah.
It's very important. Otherwise, it will always be ignored. It will, because we are not seen, we are not heard, we are not really recognized. So if somebody is just glorifying an individual, let's say Dr. Nidhi, just because she has achieved something in sports, she is doing something in academics, that does not mean that society has overcome the the perception, the stereotypical perception of people with disabilities. There is a lot to do, a lot more to do.
So, and on a lighter note, tell me how much does discipline have to do in your life? How disciplined do you feel you've needed to be to achieve in academics or in sports or wherever, traveling, whatever you do, how much has discipline had to say?
Yeah. So I have mentioned it in some of my interviews that consistency and discipline is the key. If you don't have them, you won't reach anywhere. So my grandfather long back, he told me one day, I wasn't going for the training. I was at home, so I was just chilling out. And he said, "You're not going for the training?" And since I was in my village, I thought, okay, there's no stadium. It's okay, I can chill. So he was like,
No,
your everyday training will help you, cover that distance centimeters or millimeters by millimeters. So suppose you are skipping your training for 7 days, you have missed on 7 millimeters, and you won't be able to recover that distance soon. So I realized that the discipline and consistency has to be there no matter what. In sports, of course, because your body will give you the maximum output if you train it in a proper way, if you provide certain training, if you take proper rest. So that becomes very important. And we all have just 24 hours. So for me, things were difficult. They have been a little more complex because I was into sports, I was into research, I was into academics, and even now I'm into academics. So things are a bit more challenging because most of the people, they either do sports and get into sports quota jobs where they are provided with required relaxations, which is not the case with me. So I have to give my best. Like I have to work just like all my other colleagues, and then I have to manage sports as well.
Also,
So
so your body doesn't get the rest.
yeah, it has. We have to just which nowadays it's
getting very difficult. I'm not able to train, and because I don't get time. That's a full time job, and it's just impossible to train professional, especially for such global events such as Olympics.
Yeah. You are a very busy person with a very full profile. So there, I think our viewers can learn a lot from you, whether if it's sports arts and acting or discipline. But Dr. Nidhi, thank you for being with us today and sharing a little bit of your story with us.
Thank you so much for having me here.